Okay, hi everybody. I don't know if you are here yet, but give us a minute just to be sure everything is working before we kick off. Okay, Nova, please let us know if everything is working the way it should. Subin is here. Yeah, okay. So this
Okay,
is
very good.
live.
Very good.
We're
Good to
good.
go. Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. All right. Do you want to? Okay, I'm gonna remove you, Nova. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome today to Immigrant Techies Network. It's been a while that we've had an event like this that focuses on specific topics in tech based on the response we get from the community. So, just a quick introduction: Immigrant Techies Network is a non-profit organization that started as a community grassroots movement about 5 years ago. And then we got incorporated as a nonprofit 2 years ago. And our mission really is to help immigrant professionals get into tech careers and help tech companies find talent from the rich immigrant talent pool. We have several programs and events that we do, and this one is a monthly virtual series. This will be the first of the year. Today we are here to hear success stories. So at the end of the meeting, we will share a link for people to join the community. There's a Discord channel server right now where we kind of do community, but we're in the process of building a digital hub, and you'll get to know more about that as time goes on. But Discord is where we hang out for now until that hub is ready. So today you did not come to hear me speak. You are here to hear success stories from immigrant professionals like yourself who have been successful in landing their first Canadian tech job. And with me here tonight are three incredible people who all interestingly have passed through Pathway Pro, which is one of our programs at Immigrant Techies that we do in collaboration with Reskill Calgary. But that was not even the reason they were chosen, actually. It's not because they went through Pathway Pro, it's because they have incredible stories to tell. So I'm going to just change so that I can see them. You can see this wonderful faces. So we have Rebecca Pangras. Rebecca is a senior software developer at Inspiris. And Alice Lim. Alice is a front-end web developer at the University of Calgary. And Subin Finny is a QA automation. I know I'm butchering that somehow at Tata Consulting. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So, just the first questions. I'll just, if you can all go around, just a little bit about yourself and your experience before Canada. Just want to get a feel for where you were before you came to Canada. So let's start with you, Rebecca.
Hey, so you all know my name. I'm Rebecca, and I currently work for Inspiris in Calgary. And before coming to Canada, uh, I'm from India, so I was working as a software developer in India for 5 years before coming to Canada. And I also hold a bachelor's degree in computer science and engineering. So I came to Canada in April of 2023, and I landed my first job on November 1st, 2023.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Alice.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Alice. So I am originally from Taiwan, and before
So I came to Canada about 5 years ago, and then I studied supply chain management at State. So after that I was a purchasing officer at State for about a year, and then I decided to switch my career into web development in 2023. Yeah, and I last November I landed my first tech job at University of Calgary as a web assistant.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Alice. Subin.
Hey, hi. Hi, everyone. So I am like Subin, and I'm a senior QA automation engineer at TCS right now. So before to that, I have a vast experience of around 10 plus years in leading teams, building automation test frameworks, solving complex solutions, complex problems. So I moved to Canada with a hope of growing in my tech career, but coming here, like I could understand the market dynamics were
Mm-hmm.
pretty much difficult. But yeah, like with a lot of struggle and preparation and networking, continuous learning, I was able to crack it. So yeah, I hope this session would be an interesting session for all who are looking out for a job. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. Your volume was a little bit low, Subin. I could hear
Okay.
you, but if you could, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I want people in the audience to have a chance to ask questions. So I would not be taking too long. This is not my show again, like I have said. So, what do you wish you knew before you started applying for jobs in Canada? What were the things that things that you know now that you wish you knew then, that could have been a game changer for you, or that could have made you use a different strategy? What did you wish you knew the first day you landed in Canada? Who wants to go first? Alice, you look like you're ready.
Yeah, I would say like the first thing I wish I knew is the importance of networking, especially for North America, because I came from a very different background and we don't really have such a culture back home. So it was, yeah, I just wish I knew I was started like earlier when I was still, studying at SAY. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, networking. Okay.
Yeah, for me, so I come from India. So in India, this is how it's like. For whenever I want to apply for a new job, or I'm searching for a job, there is this website called Naukri where I would go and update my resume. And each day I would be getting like at least 5 to 8 calls for a job interview. But when I came here, I landed in April 2023 and I started in April 2023 with my job search. I applied everywhere, but I did not get any response back at all. That was like, what is this? I did not know anything at all. I mean, what's happening? So, having the knowledge of being patient and how the job applying process and everything works would have been easier for me because I thought something was wrong with my resume or my tech skill was not enough. I had so many questions being arised because of that. So, if I had known before about like how the job process, application, and everything is works in Canada, it would have been better. I would have, I mean, started right.
If you had know what the process is like, is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do agree. Assuming you're able to hear me, right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I do agree with Alice and Rebecca's points. Like networking and the way of job search here is like too much different. So I would have said the same points, but what I would say is as a third point is to here, right? The competition is much more fierce, so we should establish ourselves as kind of a brand, or maybe we should build a portfolio about what we are doing or about our experience. Even though we come from a different country with a lot of experience, tech experience, right? The people or the employers here, they want somebody who has Canadian experience. So what I would say is like we should highlight ourselves as a person as well as a kind of a brand, so that the employers cannot leave us out. That is one point I wish I had known earlier.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that, Subin. So, what exactly, practically, did you do to elevate your brand as a person? Because, in working with many immigrant professionals, the whole concept of personal branding is so foreign to many cultures. So, people are like, why do I have to do that? Don't I just have to do the job? Right? But then
Right.
there's a perception issue. There is the image you are portraying out there. So what did you do, Subin, personally to elevate your brand?
Okay. So personally, like once I understood, okay, I have to like because like how Rebekkal was saying, right, back in India and all, like the number of opportunities that we have, right, job opportunities are like more. But here it's the opposite. Like opportunities are less, but lot of expert people are there around.
Mhm.
So what I felt is like through networking, we can connect with people, a lot of people. Through them, we can get an idea of like some of the hidden job opportunities. Also, their experiences, right? What they share, or like how they have gone through the same process. That also gives us a lot of encouragement and as well as a support for us. Same like that how I wanted to build my what to say image or like a brand, right? What I did was like I was getting active in LinkedIn, where I was actually like blog like sharing my journey, how I was like preparing for my interviews, all those kind of blogs I was started writing. So I was actually making an visibility that nobody can
Mhm.
like uh, miss out on me there. Like that.
Okay, so what you were sharing on LinkedIn was a big part of it. Alice, you mentioned networking earlier, that was something you wish you knew. What part would you say networking played in helping you get your job?
It's like quite interesting in my case because I got my current job from like cold application, but one of my referral re- yeah references came
Mm-hmm.
from the my previous workplace. So um, yeah, I would say I feel like now a lot of people would focus on like going to a lot of networking events and meeting a lot of new people, but I would say don't forget about your current connections because you also need to build or maintain your relationship with them because you never know, maybe in the future you'll need like
Mm-hmm.
references from your previous workers or previous managers.
So you do a lot of networking to meet people, but you actually didn't get your job through networking per se. It was through a cold application, but you still had to pull from your community to get you a reference.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, exactly.
Rebecca, how about you? What does that look like for you in terms of branding yourself, networking? Yeah.
Yeah, so like Alice said, networking actually helped me a lot, but that's not how I ended in my job. So that was networking helped me realize like there are people out there same as me looking for a job, and also made me know about so many resources that is available and how to make use of them. That is one more important thing. And apart from networking, one other thing I did was volunteering work. So that's where I
Volunteering work.
volunteering
Yeah.
work.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I started looking for volunteering jobs from May, and I was very particular about the kind of jobs I took, like which aligned a lot with my current job. So
Mhm.
the first one I took was a teaching one, teaching coding to kids. So, and I would say that's the most fulfilling job I've ever had. That was
So
really
I say
nice.
you were teaching code to
Coding,
kids, right?
coding,
Coding to
yeah, basic,
kids.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
HTML and CSS to kids, like kids in grade 4 to 5. It was a summer camp, so each coding camp would go for like 2 weeks, and I taught in two summer camps, and I liked that so much. So even after I got my job, I taught in a fall camp and also in another camp. So through that, I met my first part-time employer through that job. Uh, and also, I volunteered with another organization as a software developer. So it was a remote position, and the tech lead from that job actually gave me reference for the job that I have currently. So
Mm.
volunteering played the most important part, I would, for me, and also it made me like be stay in touch, gave me a purpose. I was active, and yeah, that helped in so many levels.
Honestly, I love that so much. So volunteering with strategy, right?
Hmm.
So you're volunteering, but you're also being careful, being intentional about the kind
Yeah,
of volunteer work you're doing. So you volunteered to teach coding to kids, and then you volunteered to be a software developer for a company that needed help,
yeah,
and that it was that connection that now led to the job. So these
yeah,
are things that have a hard to measure ROI. So if you are the type that is very transactional, you want to do something today and see the reward right away, you will struggle in this economy, especially because many of these things you volunteer not because you expect something right away. It's like having a savings account and you're just depositing there. You never know the day you get to cash out, right? Let's see what some of the questions before I ask another one of mine. So Francis Cuss, I hope I said your name correctly, is talking about. Okay, let's show that so we can all see it. So also come from an Asian country. Totally agree with Alice. So some questions for you, Alice. Okay, sorry. Could you share which networking channels, both online and offline, to attend? And then to Subin, I'm trying to build my personal brand as well. Do you think Canadian employers prefer more generalists or specialists? Good questions. So let's start with the question to Alice. What, how do you network? What are your suggestions?
I don't know if you're active on LinkedIn. If you're like really active on LinkedIn, you'll notice that there are actually a lot of networking or tech events in
Mm-hmm.
Calgary. Yeah, and some of them happens like weekly. So there are a lot of opportunities there out there that you will be able to network. Yeah, and yeah, that's
Follow
what
follow
happened.
Alice on LinkedIn. Yeah, I mean Alice is correct. If you're active on LinkedIn in the tech community as a whole, you will see all these events being posted, and some of them are virtual, like this one, and there are lots of in-person events. Like you cannot run out of good events to attend in Calgary Tech for sure. So the question to Subin was,
Yeah.
yeah, generalists versus specialists.
Okay.
That is a
Okay.
very good one.
Okay. So just to touch upon Alice, like there are a lot of in-person events that are happening in Platform Calgary, and like a lot of if you're active in LinkedIn, you can find a lot of communities are there who are meeting on a weekly basis as well. That's a good start for you to network.
And if I
Francis?
could quickly add something before you go on to answer the question too, Francis,
Uh-huh.
because depending on your area of discipline, for example, if you're a designer, there's Calgary UX. If you're a product person, there's Product Calgary. If you are there's City Careers in Tech and Innovation, there's Immigrant Techies Network, us here. So there are some groups that cater to your specific discipline, and there are some that are kind of just support tech careers in general. There's Pixel and Paint for software developers. There's Calgary Test Tribe for you QA engineers. So there's just like I said, there's no shortage of good events and good communities in Calgary Tech. Yeah, Alice. Sorry, Subin. Alice is just gonna say something more
Oh,
to that.
Yeah.
sorry. I just wanted to add one more thing on that. So you can also check out Meetup. There are a lot of Meetup groups
Yeah.
in Calgary. Yeah, like software crafters, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, depending on your domain.
Awesome.
Right.
All right, Subin. Sorry. Now we can talk about generalists versus specialists.
Yeah, so coming to that, that is actually a very good question. So, if you see most of the job descriptions, right? If you're, I am personally a QA, so even if you read a QA job description, right, you can see a little bit of development, you'll see a little bit of DevOps. They want somebody who is a all-rounder in most of the like domains. So, but yeah, depends on the employer. But what I would say is you should not only rely on one particular skill. Means there should be a primary skill, which is say you're a QA, but you should have some idea on what are the other complementing skills that would give you an edge over others. Say for my experience, like I had a little bit of development, little bit of DevOps, little bit
Mm,
of API. So that all complemented me to project myself as a having a little bit edge over the others. Like say others might be only coming from automation or only coming with functional testing. So we should be like having some we should only create some what to say like some edge over others so that we get that preference, right? Because like
mhm.
yeah, like because everybody is coming from diverse communities as well as from different nations. So what stands out is like how you project yourself. So that is what I was mentioning.
I mean, it's a tricky question.
Right.
A friend of mine once said, how do you say, that people, employers think they want specialists, but they actually want generalists.
Generalist, yeah,
So
right.
when the job posts go out, it's very detailed. It's focused on a particular skill set. But then you go to the interview, they start asking you questions outside of that skill set. So it's like, I think the thing is, you still have to focus your efforts into the one thing that is primary for you. And you know that whatever else you have, you will present it as skills that complement the one you have chosen. So, Canadian work system does not favor do it alls. And I know how this is a challenge because in many of our immigrant countries, we do it all. Like the person that is the project manager is the scrum master, is the product manager, is the business analyst. But here, when you say that, it sounds like you're not being honest. Like how could you be all that? But that's because that's not how, in some cases, that's not how the job was structured. They didn't call it the names we even call it here, but you are doing all those roles. So I can understand if you feel like I have more to offer, why streamline myself? But where that becomes a problem is you can be perceived as being spread too thin and maybe you won't be effective at anything. So that's why it helps when you focus your efforts in one thing. Like Subin said, he focuses efforts in the QA aspect, but then complemented it with the fact that he also does some DevOps, some coding. So it kind of just complemented the parts that is already being focused on. Rebecca, I'm going to ask you in terms of still on generalist and specialist. I know that you are, remind me, you're an RPA developer,
Mhm.
right? And that's not something that is mainstream dev work. So, how specialized is that? And does it help you that you have some other skill set along that or not? So, still on the topic of generalist and specialist. So Rebecca is a robotic process automation developer. If you can speak a little bit to that.
Actually, that is not the entire thing I do. I'm basically a business process automation. That is what we do. I also do development work inside. I mean, I usually do JavaScript, HTML. I change things in CSS, and then we also do BA work, sometimes PM, project manager work. So
Mhm.
it's a mix of all of the things. So, like Subin said, if just take a job description and see the list of things listed out, and just check off the main things that you want to have, and the other things, if you know the basics, I think that's sufficient. Because in one of the interviews I attended, it was for a full stack developer role. I was strong in the back end development part. So, but I knew a little bit in the front end part as well, not so strong like the back end. But during the interview, I was able to answer the questions they asked, and when they went in depth with the front end question, I just told them like, so back end is my strong forte, and front end I can do this much, and they were really understanding about it. So I think whatever you want to learn, take a field, be very strong in that, but also the other stuff you don't have to be that strong, but just know what it is. So if you have a situation where you have to work in that, you'll be able to learn more about it, and that shows your willingness to learn.
Awesome. Yeah, good stuff. You
Mhm.
guys are just dropping all the good gems. Awesome. Tanvir is asking, let's show it. Um, is Canadian experience really needed to land a job here in Canada? If so, what suggestions would you give? Who wants to take that?
I think I would like to go in this because um, I did not have my Canadian experience in the beginning, because how can we get Canadian experience when we do not have the
Have
ability
job.
to get the job, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, so one thing I noticed is during all the interviews I had, when people looked at the volunteering experiences we have, they really like to talk more about it, about the things you do. It counts as experience because you're working on real-time projects, right? And also, I was fortunate to get placed in Pathway Pro. So it is like when we talked about in the beginning, it's a real structure of how development usually happens. You have a project manager, you have developers, backend developers, front end developers, and BAs as well. So that helped. And also the volunteering jobs. That's why I said the kind of volunteering job you take, it matters, because it could add a very good strength to your resume, because that counts as an experience too.
So the volunteer work counted as experience for you, Rebecca,
Oh
and
yeah, it did.
also working with Pathway Pro. So if I could
Yeah.
just do a quick plug there, what Pathway Pro is. So I think I hinted on it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
For Pathway Pro, the whole idea is to give new immigrant professionals their Canadian experience in tech, in software development tech. So we have people on Scrum teams. We have a product manager, developers, QA, engineers, and designers on each team, working with a Calgary and Alberta tech company building a product. So it's everything that you would do when you're developing a product for in any setting. And then you have one-on-one coaching, you have mentors, technical advisors who guide you along the way. They don't teach you to code or teach you to become the role, because this program is for those who already have experience, but they are there as guides. And you get one-on-one coaching, we get future readiness workshops. So it's a whole 360-degree kind of program that touches on the identified pain points that we know immigrant professionals go through, because we that designed it have gone through that ourselves. So it's kind of designed for immigrants by immigrants kind of thing. So yeah, just thought I'll put that plug there. All three of them have gone through Pathway Pro. Yes. All right. Let me see if there's any other question.
Vimi,
So,
just to add a point,
mhm.
like if somebody is good at maybe coding or anything, right? If they have a relevant or a proper GitHub repository where they can showcase some of their projects, what they're doing, right? Or say for UI or UX designers, if they have some Figma accounts or be enhanced profiles, right? That can also be like kind of a portfolio, right? You can show as a what to say, just to showcase that you have the proper experience. Because what I have seen is most people who are coming here, they are saying 5 years, 10 years experience, right? But they might not be able to like showcase that
Mm.
during the interview. So maybe something like a GitHub profile or a enhanced profile, right? Just it can complement them. So that is also a point I wanted to add.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for mentioning portfolio. They are really good to have, especially if you're a designer, but not limited to. I think I read some LinkedIn post, maybe it was today or yesterday. Someone said a designer with no portfolio is like someone showing up to a game without their gear or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and it's not just for designers. The whole idea of the portfolio is to showcase yourself, your skills in full form. Because the resume structure is limited. There's only so much you can
Yeah.
put in a resume because of the structure of it. But on your portfolio, you can put everything you're working on, whether you are paid to do it or not, it doesn't matter because you're showing your skills. As a developer, you can have your GitHub on there. People can see your activity, they can see what your code looks like, how often you do it. It doesn't matter what you're coding for, whether you're getting paid for it or not. So it's a way of representing yourself. And I also find it to be a very good introductory tool. So if you have
Yeah.
just connected with someone, maybe through an event like this, you connect with someone on LinkedIn, and then you're like, hey, here's my portfolio. You just send a link. It's not a resume. You are not asking them for a job. It's more of just look at this is my skill set. These are the things I'm up to. So it's a very good way to introduce yourself as well without asking for anything in return.
Right.
All right. Yeah, Alice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing on the portfolio part. So aside from showcasing your skills on your portfolio, I think it's also really important to show some of your personalities on your portfolio, because
Mm.
from like on resume, it's like really formal, yeah, document.
Right.
Like nobody can really tell what
Mm-hmm.
kind
Right.
of person you are. So you can utilize your portfolio to show some of your personality. And I think it's really important, especially for entry level positions. Some employers might not really care about, like, I'm not saying technical skills are not important, but a lot of employers actually look for a culture fit.
Right.
So it is important to show some personalities.
Yeah, totally. Okay, I thought Subin was gonna say something. No?
No, 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 no. Just the same thing. Like just the same thing. Like here, what from my experience also, what I have seen is like beyond the technical skills, they are looking if this person is a correct fit for their existing culture, or like what to say, the collaboration, inclusion, all diverse environment we see, right? So
Mm-hmm.
employers do check for that because they specifically ask you some scenario based or behavioral based questions just to know like where you stand apart from your technical skill, right? How you would behave in the team, because they don't want to damage the existing team's what to say, environment. So
Mm-hmm.
those also play a role actually. Like even though we think it's a very minute thing, but they do give some points for that. Yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally. And your online presence is always a plus too, right? Like
Yeah.
what how are you leveraging thought leadership? Because
Right.
it's you saying this is how I think. So your resume tells you the things you've done in the past. But when you share your thoughts, when you analyze situations on LinkedIn or maybe on Medium in other ways, you are saying, this is how I think, this is how I analyze situations, this is my mindset, this is how I tackle problems, which is the thing that employers are really wondering about, especially for us newcomers. So when they see a resume, everything looks good, and they're like, what if they just wrote all these things there? What if they can't really do it? I can't call their former employer. They are in another continent. So there's that level of risk that employers feel like they have to navigate in hiring a newcomer. But when they can read how you think, what you write, it's another way of getting to know you a little bit more than what the resume will portray. Um, uh, Oh, okay, Rebecca, go for
Uh,
it.
okay, actually, this is actually when I think about it now, it sounds funny because the first interview I attended here, it was for a tech role. I was so prepared. I refreshed all my coding tech skills, everything, and I sat in the interview. I was expecting a coding question, but then the question I got was like, "What was the project you are most proud of?" All of them were behavioral question. I was like,
Yeah.
what? I didn't know. I could have answered that if I had priorly prepared, like was ready for that questions, because we are just going to talk about our experience. But people who are from my kind of background from the place I'm coming from, they would be like me, I guess. So anybody here who has not attended an interview in Canada yet, be ready for that. It's not going to be all technical, behavioral
Mhm.
questions and talking about your experiences, how you handle and how you work with people, and your mission, your passion, and why you want to work for that job. And people sometimes value that. It's not like any job you get, not going to take that. They want you to be picky
Yeah.
about why you want to be in that role in
In
that
their
company.
Right.
company, in their role.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Think about put yourself in the shoes of the employer. Imagine you are
Employee.
the one that developed a business. This thing is your passion. It was born out of your pain, something you experienced, and you're like, I'm gonna solve all this problem. So you were doing it all by yourself, until you got to a point you're like, oh, this is a lot of work. I need someone else to I need to bring people on the team, but I want them to care also.
Yeah.
So if you were that employer, what would you be looking for? Do you want somebody that's like, yeah, I just saw your job, I thought I could do it, and I'm applying, and they have not researched your company, they have no insight whatsoever to show that they particularly care about your product, and then there's another person that shows they've done their due diligence? Who would you want to hand your baby over to? Because the company you've built, the team you've built, is like your baby. You want it protected, you want it nurtured. So yeah, the thing is, we have to understand that even though we're looking for work so that we can feed the kids and pay the bills, we still have to show genuine concern for the businesses that we want to be part of. um Payal, looks like I don't know if I missed your question
Oh,
earlier. So marketing background in IT. What was your original question? Okay.
okay.
I have a question. What do
Self-marketing,
you
right?
suggest ways of self-marketing and branding? Yeah, I think we've touched on some of them already.
Yeah.
Anyone has do you guys have any specific suggestions you want to make in terms of self-marketing and branding? I mean, you are a marketer, Payal. You should probably be teaching the rest of us from a marketing perspective. I mean, there are many ways. There are using thought leadership for sure in terms of what you post online.
Right.
You give yourself a writing challenge, where you kind of just post your thoughts, maybe on a particular topic, or maybe it's on a passion of yours, and who you support also, because a lot of times too, you don't have to be self-focused. Some of us struggle with self-promotion, but
Yeah.
you can still brand yourself by promoting other people, other organizations. You can start highlighting people that are doing great work that you admire, that you enjoy. So that's another way. Like it's also a personal thing. There are things that people are comfortable with. It could be something you are part of. So if you're part of a community, shout out to a community like Tech Connect with oh my gosh, Akshay. How can I forget
Actually,
Akshay's
yeah.
name? So if you're proud of a community you are part of and you're promoting what that community is about, I'm just saying there are ways to do this thing without going into the super uncomfortable self-promotion route that I know many immigrants do not find easy to do. Like when it comes to a me, I know some of us struggle with that, but you can still do a lot of showing what you care about by
Yeah.
supporting other people. Yeah, Alice.
True, true.
Yeah, so I would like to share my personal story. So like I also was trying to figure out how I should brand myself, but then I thought about it and I was like, I feel like I'm still like in early like early stage in my career, and I still feel like I need more time to figure it out, like how I can brand myself. So I just started like posting more on LinkedIn. I just treat it like my learning journeys. I just like journaling all my learning along the way, and then
Yeah.
I'm still doing this, but I think I will figure it out in the future, like how I can brand myself. So it takes time. It takes time to build your own brand.
Right. Same thing like as Alice and Yumi, like you are mentioning. We can. It's not just only about ourselves. We can mention about the highlights of some of the volunteering works or the highlights of some of the events that we are attending. We can say about some of the new technologies that we are coming up. Right. So last day also, I was thinking to write a blog on like this DeepSeek versus ChatGPT. You just showing that presence in LinkedIn, right? That shows that okay, this guy is up to date with some of the latest technologies, or he's always like what to say, trying to learn something new. That kind of impression also matters a lot. So it's not just always about me. Like just you can have somebody to support. Say there are a lot of tech connect is there, like test drive is there, immigrant techies. You can just mention some of their good works or like some of the events they are going to host, right? If you just showcase that also, right? You have that presence. So that way also, I think you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a question here that's QA related
Okay.
from Karishma. So it's about, yeah, I know we can't do step by step. Sorry, I just want to be able to read the whole thing.
I don't have background.
So, what plays a major role? I think so. The upper part of that question is a lot. It's like a topic of its own in terms of step by step, and I think one-on-one support will be helpful in that. But the other part of the question that says, what do you suggest? How do you learn new skills like automation? What would be the best way? So if you're already a QA professional, but you are skilled in manual testing and you want to add automation, what resources are out there, Subin?
Okay. So like the first one, right? If you are just going for a very getting some means back then we used to review a lot through Google so pages, right? Now if you directly ask ChatGPT, it can give you a proper structured way of how to learn a particular tool. Then you can just go ahead into YouTube. You will get some videos just to understand. Okay, this is what I want to do, right? Just before learning a tool blindly just see how it is, what is its scope in the market. Maybe if you go through like 10 job descriptions, right? You see like one particular tool is being repeated everywhere. Go learn that tool. That way you can kind of channel your job search. And like I would say, like you can use ChatGPT, maybe YouTube. If at all you are able to spend some money and time, right? You can do a kind of a LinkedIn learning certificate or Udemy certification just to get some idea. And once you learn a particular skill, try to do some kind of a in-house project where you say, I always say, I'm a QA, I'm an automation engineer. So I will always say to somebody who is learning, right, just to create a project, just to create a sample framework where you just go to Amazon site, add some products, go to the checkout screen. If you are able to automate that one single flow, right, you would touch base all of your skills that you have learned from the previous courses. So that way you will get some confidence. Okay, you can also say in an interview that okay, you have done something, right? So that way you can do it. So now we have a lot of resources out there. It's just how we
Yeah.
use it. Yeah,
Like right now, the challenge is which one should I choose? No,
yeah, right,
it's
right.
not about availability. It's about actually streamlining what you need from what is noise.
Right.
There's a question about data analytics. I know none of our guests are particularly data analysts, but
Mhm.
I know of Civic Tech YYC. There is data. What is it called?
Yes.
Something data YYC. Yes, there are meetup groups that cater to data groups. So if you go to meetup.com and just use data Calgary to search, I'm sure these things will come up. I know for sure about Civic Tech YYC, which is a lot around not only data, but also, okay, there's also tech for good. Yeah, I know they exist. I just can't remember the exact name they are called.
I think you're saying Datacon YYC, right?
That's an event, is it not? Is DataCon the
Oh,
group or the event?
oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
I
if you
think it's an
search with
event.
DataCon, you'll definitely find the people organizing it. Yeah. Thanks for that, Alice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, go for it, Rebecca, while I
Yeah,
look through these
they had
questions.
asked about a resume. So the first thing everybody who's going to apply for a job is create their resume, and that resume creation itself takes so much, trial and error, and it actually plays a very important role because they use this called ATS, which gets the key points from your resume, and there is a certain structure to how a resume should be created. So initially I did not know about it, but fortunately there are organizations that help people for free to create your resume. Also they make you aware about the events. So one such organization that I was benefited from was Calgary Career Hub. So they conduct workshops to it's free, free, everything's free. They assign you a particular advisor. They sit with you and they will refine your resume. They will give you comments like paragraphs, like what has to be changed. It has to definitely say something like how it impacted. They will teach you star methodologies, and if you have an interview scheduled, you just have to tell them. They will sit with you and help you prepare for the interview. They help in so many levels. So there are so many services that are available in Calgary for newcomers and also for people who are looking for job. So if you have, when I came here, I was a temporary worker and I couldn't benefit from some programs like ITP program from CCIS, but there were other resources too that I could use, like Calgary Career Hub.
Okay. Yeah.
And you can put, if some of those things you're referring to, Rebecca, you can put them in the
Yeah,
chat as well.
yeah. Yeah. Also, I see a question asking like where if they can find volunteering jobs for QA and all these roles. So there is a website called Volunteer Connected. So it has everything like whatever courses you want to work for, what roles are available. So you can see all those information there and you can directly apply. I'll put them in the chat.
Awesome. Alice, you're going to say something.
Alice.
Oh yeah, I just want to add it to Rebecca's point. So if you're a student, don't forget to utilize your school. There are definitely some like career services team on campus, and then they can definitely help you to review your resume.
Yeah, just a point since like we have touched based on like resume, right? Like what I understood from my job search journey is like always try to just not just giving a sentence on your jobs and roles and responsibilities, right? Try to quantify your works. Like if you provide some number, right? But you should not simply put some number, but you should be in a position you should be able to explain how that percentage or say for example from my thing like if I say 30 percentage execution I have made it faster, right? I should be able to explain that properly uh, so that they will also get convinced. So I think because I have seen a lot of interviews, they have specifically asked how this number is arrived, what is the formula for like how you quantify this one. So that is one thing that I would like to add. And somebody has mentioned, do you need to change your resume for every job that you're applying? I would say you should have a base template, but depending on which all job description, right, or like which all domains they are coming from, you can highlight your resume in such a way that, say, if tomorrow I am getting a banking domain, I can highlight my banking domain experience because here I see that apart from the Canadian work experience, they look for somebody who is having domain knowledge, which is also giving you a lot of weightage. So I would say these 2 points you can make sure that next time you're applying for a job, right? Just quantify your work and maybe if it's specific to your domain experience, try to highlight those keywords.
Mm-hmm. So some of the things I just put in the chat were the links that uh, Rebecca was talking about. You sent it to my private chat, so that's I just put it there. And
Okay.
at Reskill Calgary, we also do a lot of one-on-one coaching. So yeah, that's a support that exists there as well. So something I want to touch on before we run out of time is for you, Subin. So you work with and how do you explain
TCS
with
or
a recruiting agency. So you got your job through an agency, right?
no, I'm
That's
direct employer to TCS. Yeah, I work for TD Bank right now.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I just want you to explain how that works so people understand that it's not there are many ways to get a job. Rebecca works for Inspiris, apply directly to that company. Alice works for University of Calgary, I apply directly there. But Subin applied to a recruiting agency that has now placed him on a project with a different company. So how does that work? How do people get their profiles registered with recruiting agencies so that they can get maybe contract work, you know, just so that people know that there's not just one way of getting gainfully employed.
Okay, okay. TCS is properly a company itself. They just have some kind of like outsourcing as well. So they have like their portal where you can actually register your what to say your details. So if at all there is a job opportunity that is coming up, you will get referred to it. Or if you're active in LinkedIn, right, you can connect with few of this TCS HR people or not specific to thesis, but for any other company, right? If you follow few of the recruiters or HR people, right? As soon as they post a particular job role, you can actually, if it is a match for you, you can apply for it. So yeah, like Wunmi mentioned, there are different roles, like different ways you can actually get a job, maybe
Mhm.
through a contractual position or with a direct employment. So yeah.
Yeah, so there are opportunities to have direct employment, contract work, and something I also like to challenge people about is the future of work is going to look very different from what we have all known traditionally. It used to be that you'll get a very good degree and get a job and you're set for life. Now that's not true anymore. So being open to diverse ways of work, even if be open to freelance work, be open to a short-term 3 month contract, or maybe someone just has a project they want you to work on. Just be open to all of that. They are all experience, they're all gainful employment. I understand that in some cases for your immigration processes you need a full-time job. I understand that that's a challenge. But outside of that, I would say be open minded about different ways of adding value. Because what is a job, anyways? It's an exchange of value. The fact that somebody needs what you want and they'll give you money and other benefits for it. So, what are the other ways? What are the many ways that you can exchange value? So, we can challenge the way we think about conventional work. One more question for both Alice and Rebecca. Okay, I think Rebecca wants to add something first.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I actually, the agency, I actually got my job through an agency, but that was actually a big story. It's SI
Oh,
Systems. Yeah, SI Systems. I had applied in long back in the beginning of August. Nobody called back, but one day they called me by mistake, and then I told
by
them I had
mistake.
mistake.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
They asked, is Bhavani there? No, Bhavani, we are calling from SI Systems. I said, no, I'm not Bhavani, but I have applied to SI Systems before. Then, oh, really? We didn't call you back? No. And then we talked, and then I got this job. So just keep doing whatever you're doing. You will get things from the place that you least expect from. And one more thing I want to mention here is once I was like about to get spammed So I had two phone call interviews, and then they sent me. It looked like really normal interview. They sent me a job offer letter. I was going to give all my personal information into that mail. I just had to click submit, but then I looked at the email name of the company was different from the original one that was from the offer letter. Just a small one letter was different, and then I was aware. So please be careful about that kind of spams.
Okay.
I know we are desperate when looking for a job, but we have to be vigilant too.
Okay, my last question for the night for you, Alice, is so now that you have a job, did you think you needed Canadian experience before it? So my point is, when we are looking for that work, we're like, I just want to get a job. I just want to get a job. But now that you are in there, is there a culture shock? Are there things that that you're surprised by, that maybe your time attending networking events, um, networking with people that are not from your background, is it helping? Are there things that you're surprised by now that you have a job? I just wanted to touch on something that is post job search.
For me, I don't really have any culture shocks, but
Okay.
I would say just like it's really important to stay open minded. Yeah, and then just try to absorb like new culture as much as you can, since we all immigrant to a new country, and if we made that decision, that's something we have to do as a newcomer. So I
Mm-hmm.
just say be open minded, and
Yep.
then for me, I wouldn't say Canadian experience is that important because I previously had a job at SAIT, right? And I also
Mm,
didn't have
that's
any
right.
Canadian experience back then, but I was hired right after I graduated from SAIT.
Okay.
So
Okay, yeah, you've gone to school here, then you okay, yeah, I guess
I guess
you
it
got
it
that
also
base covered already.
and also it really depends on the employers.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
So in the chat, Nova posted the link, Nova Zerati posted the link to the Discord channel. We encourage you to join that. And I put my LinkedIn profile in the chat as well. I encourage you to connect. And honestly, if other people can drop their LinkedIn profile as well and connect with as many people as you don't know before, because now you kind of know them. So feel free to add your profiles. Everybody that's on this event, you can add your profiles also to the chat, and I encourage everybody to connect to as many people as you can. What is the best way? If people have more questions, I know there are a few that I missed. I saw a question about somebody asking about dual citizenship. I wasn't sure I understood the question, or so I kind of skipped that. Sorry to the person that asked. I wasn't sure how to tackle it. But if people want to reach out to you, Subin, Rebecca, Alice, what's the best way to find you?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Same.
Yeah.
So are you able to put your profiles in the chat right now so that people can connect with you and then maybe send you more questions that we are not able to get to tonight?
Yeah, sure. We can.
Yeah. So somebody helped me with the data community names I was struggling to remember. YYC Data Society, Data for Good. Yes. Thank you, LinkedIn user. I can't tell who it is. Oh, okay. You guys are not able to. Hmm.
No,
I don't know why that is. You're not able to chat directly in the. Okay, so this is for Alice and then and Rebecca. Just find Subin. Use Subin's name to search for him.
Yeah,
What did you? Yeah.
I'll post it. Yeah.
Were you able to put it there? All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Rebecca, Alice, and Subin, for being here. I appreciate your time, and thanks everybody else for spending one precious hour of your Thursday evening with us. Hope to see you at our subsequent events. Have a great evening, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you
Wunmi
for
again.
having
Thanks
us.
for the opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
thanks for having me.
I'm gonna end the stream for the live session, but I'll leave the room open for another 5 minutes or so for anybody that wants to hang around.
Sure.